What is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over some basketball games for Saturday, April 15th, 2023. I'm going to show you guys some highlights of each side, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for some reason you're curious to know who I'm picking in these games, you'll have to join my Patreon, where my picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the pinned comment in this video below. I wish you guys the best of luck on all your picks for these games for this day. Let's go ahead and get into the games. We're going to be looking at come on. There it goes. We're going to be looking at all four games for the NBA playoffs, day one of the NBA playoffs. We'll be looking at the Nets versus the Sixers in game one, Hawks versus the Celtics in game one, Knicks versus the Cavs in game one, and Warriors versus the Kings in game one. On this side of the screen is what I call my daily numbers, date numerology, Gregorian Hebrew calendar. And on this side of the screen is what I call my game numbers, numbers specific to the game. The way that I have it structured here is I have the road team up top, their coach's record, their season record, their postseason record as a team all time. In the middle is the all-time head-to-head records between the two teams, as well as for the postseason, as well as for this season in particular. Then at the bottom is the home team, their season record, their home record, their postseason record as a team, and their coach's record all time and for the postseason. So I'm going to just go through each one of these games briefly, starting with the Sixers and the Nets. Let's go ahead and look at the first game here. I always start with the home team first. I'll go over some numbers for the home team to win this game, and then I'll go over some numbers for the road team to win this game. So to start off this game, if the Sixers are going to win this game, I found a little bit of a 50 pattern for them to win this game. What do I mean by that? The Nets, their coach, he can sit on 50 wins all time as a coach, specifically for the Nets with the loss, as it becomes 0-5 for the postseason in his career with the loss, 0-5, 5-0. They're just reflections of each other. And the Sixers could then become 5-0, like 50 head-to-head against the Nets for the season to go with, as the Sixers get their 30th home win of the season. And if you spell out the number 50, it sums to 30. So Nets coach can sit on that 50. As a coach for Nets, he can become 0-5 for a postseason record in his career, 50, 0-5 for reflections of each other. Sixers can become 5-0 head-to-head against Nets for the season, 50 sums to 30. Sixers can get their 30th home win for the season. It will be the 105th day of the Gregorian year. Sixers coach, he can get his 105th postseason win for his career. It will be a day with 42 and 62 date numerology on the Gregorian. 62, if you write it out, sums to 38. 42, if you write it out, sums to 38. Nets can get their 38th loss for the season. And outside of that, for the Sixers getting their 55th win for the season, I'm not too sure. There's no 55 number on the board. It could be for a future game. Let's see when the Sixers and Nets play. Did they play on Monday? Yeah, so game 2 would be on Monday. Let's go to Monday's numbers. Monday will have a day with 28 date numerology on it. It could be a reason why Sixers sit on 28 losses with the win heading into that game. What else? I think that's kind of it. 47, 204, 267, 20. 26. I guess that's the only thing, really. Potentially looking at getting their 9th postseason win head-to-head against the Nets. Is there a 9 connection anywhere? I'm not seeing one. Let's just write out 55 and see what it... 55 sums to 108. I guess, we can say that there is 108 date numerology on the Hebrew religious side of the calendar. Maybe we can mark that in a purple, because that would go along with, there's actually 2 108s on the board for the Nets. One for them, one against them. But if Sixers did get their 55th win, 55 sums to 108. 108 date numerology on the Hebrew religious for Saturday. Nets coach, he would sit on 108 wins all time for his career with the loss. So that can go with him on that one. But that's just a brief look for the Sixers for right now. Let's look at the Nets. What would be some numbers for the Nets to win game 1? Well, going back to the 108, like I was just talking about, 108 date numerology on the Hebrew religious, the Nets could be looking at their 108th postseason win as a team. 108 postseason win as a team. If that were to happen, it will be the 24th day of the first month for the Hebrew religious, the day with the 108 date numerology. Sixers can sit on 241 postseason wins as a team as the Nets get their 108th postseason win as a team. 108, 241, 24th day of the first month, a day with 108 date numerology on it. It is the 24th day of the Hebrew religious year, 24. Right now it sums to 167. Sixers coach can sit on 167 wins all time as a coach specifically for the Sixers with the loss. What else we got here? The Sixers, they can get their 29th loss for the season as they sit on 29 home wins with the loss to go with. Just kind of like a squeeze pattern there, 29 and a 29. At that same time, the Nets coach we get his 109th win all-time for his career. 109 is the 29th prime number. So you have this 109 here, it's 29 here, 29 here, 109 the 29th prime. It will be a day with 17 date numerology on the Gregorian. 17, if you write it out, sums to 109, the 29th prime number. So we can actually probably mark that in a gray for the Gregorian. The Nets, this is their 83rd game for the season. Sixers, it's their 83rd game for the season. 83 is the 23rd prime number. Nets can get their 23rd road win for the season. And then it will be a day with 26 date numerology on the Gregorian. And the Sixers coach, he can get his 101st postseason loss for his career. 101 is the 26th prime number. And then the Nets could become 1-4 head-to-head against the Sixers for the season with the win, as the Nets coach becomes 1-4 postseason for his career with the win. And so that's kind of what I would put for the Nets and the Sixers for right now. Just a quick look at it. Let's move on to the next game. The Hawks versus the Celtics. So starting with the bottom team, the home team, the Celtics, what would it take for them to win this game? One thing that's interesting is that the Celtics, they can get their 397th all-time postseason win as a team. 397, I have to do some math on this one. 397 mathematically is the 78th prime number. If you write out 78, sums to 159. Today will be a day with 26 date numerology. 26, if you write it out, sums to 159 as well. 78 also sums to 165, and it will be a day with 165 date numerology on the Hebrew religious side. Could be a reason why Celtics get their 397th postseason win as a team. 397, again, as the 78th prime number. 78 written out sums to 159 and 165. 26 date numerology. 26 sums to 159. 165 date numerology. The Hawks, they could become 42-42 for a season record with the loss. It will be a day with 42 date numerology on the Gregorian. It will be a day with 62 date numerology on the Gregorian. 62 sums to 155, just like the number 58. 58 sums to 155 as well. And that could be a reason why Celtics get that 58th win for the season. The Celtics, they can get their 43rd postseason head-to-head win against the Hawks in the Hawks' 43rd road game for the season. And let's see what 40 sums to. Okay, so the number 40 written out sums to 24. It will be the 24th day of the Hebrew religious. So we could mark that into a purple. But also 40, if you write it out, sums to 84. And this will be the Hawks' 84th game for the season because they had that one play-in tournament game. And their 84th game for the season, heading into Celtics' 84th game, the next game will be their 84th. They can be 4-0 like 40 head-to-head against the Hawks for the season. 40 sums to 84. And so that's kind of what I would put for the Celtics for right now. If we would look towards the Hawks, if the Hawks were going to win this game, we can simply say that the Hawks can get their 43rd win for the season in their 43rd road game of the season. The Hawks, they can get their 167th postseason win as a team on the 24th day of the Hebrew religious calendar. 24, if you write it out, sums to 167. It will be a day with 26 and 42 date numerology on the Gregorian. In Celtics' 42nd home game, they can get their 26th loss for the season. And then they would sit on 42 postseason head-to-head wins against the Hawks with the loss to go with. The Hawks, they can sit on 41 losses for the season with the win, 41 the 13th prime number, as they become 1-3 head-to-head against the Celtics for the season, like 13. And then the Celtics, they would get their 10th home loss for the season as their coach becomes 0-1 for the postseason all-time for his career with the loss. And that's just kind of something I would throw together for that game for right now. Let's move on to... I also like that it's the 7 seed versus the 2 seed. And this is their 72nd postseason head-to-head matchup between these two, like 72. Oh, that was interesting. But yeah, let's move on to the next game here. The Knicks versus the Cavaliers. Sorry to interrupt this video, you guys, but I need a huge favor from you. Can you go ahead and like this video and leave a comment below on who you think is going to win? It's going to help with the YouTube algorithm. It's going to help grow my channel. I really appreciate you guys being here. Let's go ahead and get back into the video. Starting with the home team on the bottom, Cavaliers were going to win this game. It's the 83rd game of the season for the Knicks. It's the 83rd game of the season for the Cavs. 83 mathematically is the 23rd prime number. Cavaliers could become 2-3 like 23 head-to-head against the Knicks for the season with a win. It will be the 24th day of the Hebrew religious calendar. Knicks can sit on 24 road wins with a loss as the Cavs coach becomes 2-4 for a postseason record in his career with a win. With the Cavs getting their 52nd win for the season, I'm not totally sure. Let me type this in. Let me double check here. 52. I mean, it does sum to 38. That's a number to look out for the Gregorian side, with it being 42 and 62 date numerology on the Gregorian. 62 sums to 38. 42 sums to 38. 52, if you write it out, sums to 38. Could be a reason why Cavs get their 52nd win for the season. We'll go ahead and mark that there. The Cavs, they can sit on 31 losses for the season with the win, as they sit on 127 all-time head-to-head losses against the Knicks with a win. 127 mathematically is the 31st prime number. So that could be a little connection there for them right there. 127, 31st prime. The Cavs, they could become 32-10 for a home record with a win. 3-2-1. As the Cavs coach gets his 123rd win as a coach specifically for the Cavs to go with. 1-2-3, 3-2-1. Similar numbers being used. And let's write out 36 really quick. Nothing jumps out at me for that one. $28.82. Let's see when the next game is for the Knicks and the Cavs. It's not going to be on Monday. Game 2 is going to be on Tuesday. So let's go to Tuesday's numbers. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Am I seeing anything here? Tuesday's numbers. 20, 29, 45, 65. No, nothing's jumping out at me on this one. It'll be the 27th day of the 7th month for the Hebrew. 277 is the 59th prime. It'll be the 27th day of the first month. 271 is the 58th prime. You know, actually, if the Cavs win this first game, they could potentially win the second game, because Cavs would be sitting on that 127 all-time head-to-head against Knicks. And if the Cavs win the first game, they would get their 126th win postseason as a team, which would potentially set them up to get their 127th postseason win as a team, as they continue to sit on that 127 all-time head-to-head losses against Knicks with the win. And it would come on the day of the 27th day of the first month for the Hebrew religious side of the calendar, 271, which would just be an anagram of 127. And so they can get their 127th postseason win as a team if they win the first two games, while sitting on that 127, and it would come on the day, the 27th day of the first month for the Hebrew religious side of the calendar. So that's a look ahead for the Cavaliers, potentially for game 1 and game 2. Let's look over to the Knicks. What would it take for the Knicks to win this game? The Knicks have a little bit more numbers for this day in particular. It will be a day with 26 and 62 date numerology on the Gregorian. The Knicks coach, this is his 62nd postseason game. He can get his 26th postseason win, 62-26, on a day with 62 and 26 date numerology for the Gregorian. It will be the 105th day of the Gregorian year. The Knicks can sit on 105 postseason losses, or 105 all-time head-to-head losses against Cavs with the win, as the Cavs get their 105th postseason loss as a team. And the Knicks, they would get their 48th win for the season on a day with 26 date numerology. 26, if you write it out, does sum to 48. And then the Knicks coach, he can become 2-4 for a postseason record as a coach, specifically for the Knicks, like 24 on the 24th day of the Hebrew religious calendar. And if that were to happen, he would get his 127th win all time as a coach for the Knicks, heading into game 2, which will be on the 27th day of the first month for the Hebrew religious. So that 2-7-1 can play in favor for the Knicks coach, or it can play in favor for the Cavaliers into the next 2 games. So that's an either-or scenario. Keep that in mind. And I think that might be it for this game for right now. Cavaliers, they could become 31-11 for a home record with a loss. 31 is the 11th prime number. 31 is the 11th prime number. And then on top of that, it is the 233rd all-time head-to-head matchup between these two teams. 233 mathematically is the 51st prime number. Cavaliers can sit on 51 wins for this season with the loss to go with. So let's scroll down to the last game here. The Warriors versus the Kings. Kings versus the Warriors. Starting off with the team on the bottom here, the Kings, if they're going to win this game, the Kings can get their 24th home win for the season as they get their 49th win for the season to go with on the 24th day of the Hebrew religious side of the calendar. 24, if you write it out correctly, it does sum to 49. So they can get their 24th home win, get their 49th win for the season. It will be a day with 26 date numerology on the Gregorian. 26, if you write it out, sums to 84 and 48. The Kings coach in his 84th postseason game for his career can get his 48th postseason win for his career. It will be the Warriors' 83rd game for the season. It will be the Kings' 83rd game for the season. Mathematically, 83 is the 23rd prime number. Kings could become 2-3, like 23 head-to-head against Warriors for the season with a win. And the Warriors, they could become 11-31 for a road record with a loss, almost similar to what potentially could happen to the Cavs. Cavs could become 31-11 at home with the loss. Warriors could become 11-31 on the road with the loss. 31, the 11th prime number. And then one last thing for the Warriors. This is their coach's 128th postseason game for his career. And he can get his 35th postseason loss for his career as Warriors get their 39th loss for the season. And I'm just going to go ahead and mark this in a dark blue to remind myself. 128th postseason game for the Warriors coach, if I can say that correctly. 128th postseason game for the Warriors coach. And he can get his 35th postseason loss as the Warriors get their 39th loss for the season. 35 sums to 128. And 39 sums to 128. They're actually identical in all 4 base ciphers, both of them summing to 128, 39 and 35. So Warriors can get that 39th loss. Their coach can get his 39th postseason loss and his 128th postseason game. Both 39 and 35 sum to 128. And that's about what I would put for the Kings right now. If we would look towards the Warriors to win this game, we can go ahead and say that there's 108 date numerology on the Hebrew religious, as well as 165 date numerology on the Hebrew religious. The Kings can get their 108th postseason loss as a team, as Warriors sit on 165 postseason losses with a win. It will be the Warriors' 83rd game for the season. It will be the Kings' 83rd game for the season. Kings can sit on 23 home wins with a loss. And today we'll have 42 date numerology as well as 62 date numerology on the Gregorian. 62 written out sums to 38. 42 written out sums to 38. Warriors can sit on 38 losses for the season with a win. Warriors could become 4-1, like 41, head-to-head against the Kings for the season. 41 mathematically is the 13th prime number. And if you write out the number 13, it sums to 45 and 2 of the 4 base ciphers. It could go along with Warriors getting their 45th win for the season. And with it being 26 date numerology on the Gregorian, 26 has 84 and 48, or 26 if you write it out. And let me do that again. Today has 26 date numerology on the Gregorian. 26 sums to 42, 84, and 48. In the Kings' 42nd home game, they can sit on 48 wins for the season with a loss in their coach's 84th postseason game for his career. So the 84 and the 48s can fall that way versus him getting his 48th win. So it can kind of go either or on that number. But that's about what I have for these games. Just keeping it short and simple for each one. Just giving you a couple narratives for each side. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this gives you insight to the game. Gives you a better understanding of what some of these games look like. Adds to decode that you already have. Gets you started on a decode that you haven't gotten started on. I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate the support. Hopefully you win all the money in the world. And I'll see you guys in the next video.